bacon, waffles, toast. Eggs, bacon, waffles, toast. Eggs, bacon, waffles, toast. Web3 breakfast, Jay Chains is the host. Good morning, what's up Jay Chains? Turbo made it co-hosting, yeah they do their thing. If you savvy Web3 GM, grab a plate and a seat, let's begin. If you got something to say, come and grab a mic. We got one rule, no douchebags, alright? Retweet the room, bring some friends. If you start to talk, you gon' stay to the end. Retweet the room, bring some friends. If you start to talk, you gon' stay to the end. Monday through Friday, we got the Sorrow. 10 a.m. Eastern Spaces with the purpose. All about the community focus, they deserve it. Come and speak your mind with no regrets, what you serve us. Pizza on Friday, working off midway. Get the blood pumping, Web3 music is thumping. I got eggs, bacon, right. Waffles, toast. Eggs, bacon, waffles, toast. Eggs, bacon, waffles, toast. Web3 breakfast, Jay Chains is the host with the most. Retweet the room, bring some friends. If you start to talk, you gon' stay to the end. Retweet the room, bring some friends. If you start to talk, you gon' stay to the end. Good morning.
Yo, what's going on? Seven, I saw the thumb down. Is the music still just trash?
It almost sounds like it almost sounds like you don't have it plugged in all the way or something. Like it has like some ins and outs of it, and then all of a sudden it just gets real digital real fast.
That's so interesting. I don't know what is going on with
I don't know what it is.
Craziness is
I like it because it makes everybody feel like they don't know if they're rugging to start the space, or they're like, oh man, like it's my phone again because I just keep pumping the fist. You know what I'm saying? That way you can kind of, if Twitter already thinks we're rugging, then they'll leave us alone for our spaces.
I mean, I like where we're going there, that thought process. But you know, so here's the deal: is that I have put the song in. I drag and drop the song into my computer and then threw it onto one of the. It's just like one of the preset videos that plays through StreamYard. I wonder if that's the problem. Although I was trying to play the music on Sunday just through my computer. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's something with the computer connection to the road. Maybe I'll get that USB-C cord switched out. Who knows? But GM fam, thank you for showing up. Web3 Breakfast. You know we come at you every Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, here at Crypto J Chains. It's my channel. Turbo is my co-host. Seven is my co-host. We have got a huge, massive guest. I have been kind of hanging out with the Gala Games community for years. Went to the original Galaverse in Vegas several years ago, and that's where I got a chance to actually meet Jason. And I tell you what, man, the stuff that you guys are doing, not only in the game realm, but the film realm, the music realm. I mean, literally, you guys are going to turn into a multimedia conglomerate, a Web3 friendly one too, which I definitely am excited about. But I'm super excited to chat with you today about a couple of things, you know, building engaging communities throughout this extended build market. Definitely want to talk about being dads. Both of us are girl dads, you know, what it's like having that balance of work, family life here in Web3, because we know it can be daunting. But GM, man, how are you?
It can. I'm doing pretty good, man. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. And please forgive all of the, you know, pots and pan, those noises in the background. I decided to actually make breakfast while doing this. So I'm gonna make some pancakes. Hope you guys don't mind.
I love it. I just pinned up into the nest as well. So when you had put the tweet out, and then Gala even said, "Hey, we're making pancakes," I said to my wife, I was like, "Hey, honey, I'm gonna need some pancakes on Wednesday," and so I just posted up to the nest. My pancakes were delivered to my office with some coffee just a little bit ago. I'm super excited to have pancakes with you.
You got pancakes with coffee delivered?
Yes.
Man, I'm making my own pancakes in here. That's okay. I have an amazing pancake recipe. I will tweet it and share it. It's pretty epic. And then we got the berry compote going too. But yeah, man, everything's good. I'm super happy to be here chatting with you. You know, we've known each other for a while. We keep bumping into each other at different places and things like that. So it's good to be here chatting with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I made a mistake. We did not meet each other at Galaverse. We met each other at it was some conference in Miami leading up to it. And that's you guys had a big display.
That was Wendy's birthday, right?
Correct. It was Wendy's birthday. No, that was maybe another one. Well,
I mean, we met. We met first at Decentral Miami. That's what it was.
Thank you. That's what it was.
It was, but we didn't really hang out much there. We just kind of bumped into each other. The first time we got to sit down and hang out was like Wendy's birthday, I think.
That's right. We shared a meal.
So,
It was you and a couple other guys from the community. We were there with Wendy and a bunch of other,
Yeah.
YouTubers and stuff. And that was, man, I'll tell you what, that was a fun night.
it was indeed. Had a lot of fun with that. Wendy's amazing. Wendy's like one of my very, very favorite people.
Yeah, and you guys.
What do you want, baby girl?
Pancakes. Of course, you want pancakes.
Pancakes. We're working on it.
All right, so let me
yeah,
ask
go
you
ahead.
a really quick question about the pancakes, because what I got was I got 2 plain pancakes and a blueberry pancake in the middle. I think that's the perfect recipe.
Okay.
Are you dishing up? Because you said you're doing a berry compote. Is that for the top, or are you putting that in your mix?
Well, no, it's going to be for the top. The pancakes themselves, it's a simple recipe, but it's kind of interesting because I've been playing with ChatGPT and various other AI solutions lately, and so I asked it to make me the best fluffy pancake recipe.
I love that.
Because when you go look at recipes online, typically you get like tons and tons and tons of other crap surrounding the recipe that you have to like try to figure out and read through, and like, is this an ad? Is the banner ads? Like, cooking sites are total bullshit, right? So ChatGPT just gave me a recipe, and it absolutely slaps, man. It's amazing. It is the best pancake recipe I've ever had.
I love that.
So,
And you know what's really cool?
I will share it.
Please do. And this is a really cool thing. So, you ChatGPT, people say like, oh, this is, it's a lot more efficient for content creators and stuff. Like I can make things, actually expedite my process for a lot of things with ChatGPT, and it's good. And some people says it's cheating, right, or whatever. But one thing that I love, and like what you use it for, and we've done this in our house as well. It's like, all right, I've got a bunch of ingredients. Can you figure out what I can make with this? And it's so smart.
Exactly. What can I do with blueberries and asparagus and it's good times.
Like we had like one recipe where we had a bunch of lentil beans, and we are trying to figure out what can we do with this, and it said, well, actually do this and make like these Moroccan tacos or something. We're like, holy crap! Like it was so good, something I would have never thought of.
Right. No, of course not. I mean, so yeah, it can definitely be used to enrich life, and so that's one of the things that I dig about it. And large language models and all of the AI stuff. I mean, especially once you get into some of the image processing stuff, they're just so freaking cool, man. They do so much cool stuff. Mm-hmm. So I've been playing with that a little bit in my absolutely abundant free time.
Yeah, right. With all the
understand
all the free time anybody here in Web3 has. Now we'll get into more of Gal in a little bit, but are you guys doing anything with AI as an organization?
No.
Okay.
No, we are not. I mean, I'm sure that there are people who use it in various places in their pipeline, but as like an organizational mandate, no.
Nice. Turbo, you had your hand up?
Yeah, that was my exact question. Were you guys using it at Gala Games?
I mean, I personally, like I just explained, I use it to make pancakes. So, I use it for random things every once in a while. Like, here's this article. Tell me if I've written a stupid thing. And, every once in a while it finds stupid things. So I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. But no, not as an organization.
No, but as an individual, we've had shows where we've dedicated to AI, and I actually just went to a conference out in New York where it was a lot about AI integrations with Web3 and stuff. Oop, there was a phone call, and so the
lost you there. I don't know if it's you or me.
Yeah, that was me. I got a phone call.
Oh no!
I'm just going to throw the phone on do not disturb right now, really quick. So I went to this conference out in New York, and it was a lot about AI, integrations with and transformations of companies that are, trying to integrate this into what they're doing. And I'll tell you what, it's super fascinating, as far as, integrating this into our ecosystem. But me personally, and I think a lot of people probably feel the same way, is that, I'm more, interested in how can it affect my daily function? Like, how can it make me more efficient? Yeah. So maybe instead of spending 18 to 20 hours at my computer, maybe I can shave that down to 15 and spend 3 more hours with my family or something, or pick up a hobby. I've been wanting to play pickleball, but like, I just, I feel like I'm at my desk from 6 a.m. to like 8 p.m. or 10 p.m. most of the time.
hobby is one of those words that I don't quite understand. I know that it is a word that people use along with vacation or something. I keep hearing that, but I don't really know what it is, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So, yeah.
That is something. So, I definitely want to get into that. So, when we get into the show, and like I sent you, a little bit, guys, if it is your first time here at Web3 Breakfast, thank you for being here. Absolutely. This is a show for the community, by the community. So we're going to, chop it up for a few minutes. And then I definitely want to get into, a conversation with Jason about building engaging communities within this Web3 ecosystem, and really get into, some other things like the power of connection and how, people like us and,
Yeah, man.
BitBender, you're a dad. Like, how do you blend that, work balance, family life, as well as some actionable tips for other people kind of like wondering that same thing. And like, not everybody's a builder, not everybody spends as much time in this ecosystem, but I think there's definitely anecdotes that we can all take away from at least these concepts. And then we'll get into any kind of Q&A that may follow towards the tail end of the show. But man, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, man, I'm game for anything.
I've always known that about you. And, you and I have literally, we talked about this a second ago, we've bumped into each other several times. We've always said, hey man, come on the show. And I thought that I was very close to getting you on the show when I was working with MetaMoney. But then, that all of that, whatever. But here we are now. We're doing it. Finally made it happen.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
All right. So really quick, also, if for everybody new watching and listening, we do live stream as well. So if you do want to watch, you can go ahead and either watch it on Twitter or on YouTube. We do some workouts throughout the show. So at 10:30, so I'm on East Coast time. So at 10:30, so in 15 minutes, 11 and 11:30. So every 30 minutes, we pause, play a song, and we get a little workout in. So make sure you guys are ready for that, and you can do as much or as little as you want. That is your thing. And if you want to take it to the next level, Turbo and I have developed Beast 45 Fitness. That is something we're live streaming every morning at 9 a.m. You can tune in, work out with us, get your heart started, get that blood rate going. And, we try to say have healthy minds, healthy bodies, and healthy portfolios. So.
Bro, how sore are your legs this morning?
Dude, I'm having trouble going down the stairs at my house.
Yo, my legs are sizzling sausages right under the cheeks. Holy cannoli.
Yeah.
But hey, you know what? I'm fired up for this conversation, so at least I get to sit on my keister.
The nice thing about going downstairs is you're reaching the end is a pretty much foregone conclusion. So if you're in the middle of it and you just give up, you'll still make it to the bottom. It's fine.
You just let gravity take over.
It's just the top part is the going up part. That's where it gets difficult.
Yeah.
Jesus, take the wheel.
That's why I couldn't take my pancakes up the stairs myself. I think any additional weight besides the body weight, and I would just completely collapse and it would have been over.
Nice.
So
hey, you want to know what the secret to fluffy pancakes is?
I do.
You got to let the batter rest.
Oh.
Because if you don't let the batter rest, like if you just mix that shit up and then immediately throw it on a hot pan, then you're going to end up with dense, flat pancakes. But you got your baking soda, your baking powder in there, baking powder, not baking soda, and you let that rest for 5 minutes or so. It fluffs up. It starts to get a little bit poofy, and then you put it on the griddle, and you end up with really nice, fluffy pancakes. So there you go.
We I don't know if you know this, Jason, but we are also, not only are we a Web3 community, but breakfast is in our name, and we have come to find out over the last several months that we are a community of foodies. And so I think that our community would definitely love, the alpha that you just gave out. I didn't know that. I didn't know. I think, I would be the type to just mix the batter and pour it. But so what's your time to rest? Like a couple minutes, just let it fluff up a little?
I usually let it rest for about 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And then get your griddle the right heat and not too hot. Too hot, it doesn't work either. And I actually even cool the griddle down over in the sink a couple times while I'm cooking if stuff starts to get too hot, because otherwise you're not going to get that nice golden consistency. You're going to get those like terrible dog pancakes that are like burnt and shit on one side. Nobody likes that.
Okay, so I used to be a chef, but I never was really a pancake chef. But I understand what you're saying there. I am the type. I'll definitely scorch it. So the first couple are all right. they get like really good in the middle, and then the ones at the end are the ones that nobody wants to eat because they're just a little too burnt.
Yep. Exactly.
Yo, I do have a little bit of pancake alpha as well.
Oh, let's hear it.
Yeah, so I actually fry mine.
Fry?
We put some oil in the pan. Yeah, you put the oil in the pan and you fry it. Oh boy, it gets like crispy hard on the edges, soft in the middle.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but it's not healthy for you at all. We're trying to do the healthy thing, but
it's pancakes, man. It's pancakes. It's cake that you fried.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no one's
and then you put
going
sugar
after
on top of.
No one's going after low calorie donuts. You know what I mean? That's not a thing.
Exactly.
Yo, yeah. So fry.
The ruggler strikes again. I would try a fried pancake. I think. All right. So
for sure, man.
So I know that you're making pancakes, and but this is a question that I do like to ask people, because to me it's about the syrup, and like I could rank my favorite as far as waffles, pancakes, and French toast go, but I would love to hear your 1, 2, 3 of those 3 breakfast items.
Oh, that's tough, man. See, like pancakes are really versatile. I find, like, you can make pancakes in a multitude of styles. Waffles are also good, but I think they're harder to get right. Like waffles sometimes end up being like crispy and miserable, and sometimes like doughy and crap. Like, you have to get it just right.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want, baby girl? Oh, this is not time for a popsicle. This is not popsicle time. Sorry. When you're 2 years old, every time is popsicle time. So
this is what we're fighting in our house right now too. So our daughter, and she calls them pops, and she'll walk to the freezer, and it might be 6 a.m. when her and I are down there alone, and she goes to the freezer, pop.
Yep.
No, baby, you can't have a popsicle right now. It's 6 a.m. Let's have some blueberries. Pop.
No. Yeah. And there's another baked confectionery item that comes in a cup, and it has a particular cake-ish type variant with frosting on top, and that's the other thing. She had one of those, and it has been a never-ending thing. And the funny thing is that she likes to tell people that she has these items when she hasn't. So it's like, what did you have for breakfast this morning, honey? Cupcakes? Like, no, baby girl, you didn't have cupcakes for breakfast. Don't tell people we're feeding you cupcakes. It's good times.
Dude, that's so funny. One of the neighbor kids that's befriended my daughter, she comes around, and so like she just said to like my wife the other day, and we were laughing about this because Whitney was telling me, she goes, yeah, so the little girl just said, yeah, I had like goldfish and cookies for breakfast. And like, what? Okay, like, why? You didn't have to offer up that information, but great.
It's not helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh man, that's too funny. All right, let's get through just a quick bit of house cleaning here, and then I definitely want to get into our conversation today. So really quick, guys, if we go over to nftgo.io, we look at the market sentiment. We are at 29 today. This thing's kind of been a little roller coaster between the 28 and 31 range. So we're sitting at 29 now, which it is interesting because now we've got the NFT volume up 27% at 9.3 thousand Ethereum in the last 24 hours in the broader NFT market. Blue chip index is down, market cap is down, all of that, but our sentiment is 29 cool, not too bad. We like to see that. Head on over to Coin Market Cap. Let's get a quick refresh here. The everything looks to be somewhat stable except for XRP. XRP down 4.5% today, down to 50 cents. You got Bitcoin at 26K and $12. We'll see if that thing hangs at the 26K or if we go down to the 25s. Ethereum 1742. Cardano 27 cents. That thing's down 0.5% today. The lower these things get, the juicier and juicier it gets. Polygon down to 65 cents. Solana 1514 down almost 0.1% today. So things have somewhat stabled off except for XRP, but who knows what's going to happen with the news there. And then that's what's happening in the crypto world. Here we go.
It's interesting to watch. We're in a fantastic time these days for weird news and government agencies doing strange things, and it's interesting.
It sure is, you know, and obviously with that, and it was funny. You actually, I remember there was a thread the other day on Twitter. It was maybe a couple weeks ago. You know, you had someone coming at you, and I know that you take these kind of questions all the time. You know, you are the face and the voice, basically, for Gala. You know, and you know the whole argument is about the price of the coin, and it's just like, why do people think that you are the one to control the price of that?
Well, it's the secret lever that I have in the basement that I have to, you know, go and if I have not flipped that lever, it's obviously clearly a sign of a personal failing on my part.
Right.
You know, because who forgets to flip the number go up lever, right? It's ridiculous. People are kind of insane about these sorts of things sometimes. I mean, I get it. I understand the frustration, but at the same time, you got to understand that this is all of us, guys. This is not a me thing, you know, that there's magically something that I do that is going to make, you know, any massive difference here. This is not how that works. We make games. That's what we do. We do entertainment, you know, and there's I understand where people get the idea from. I understand the sort of, what's the word I'm looking for here? I understand the impulse to feel certain ways about this stuff, but you got to understand it's just not the way that it is. Mm-hmm. It's not a magic thing that I do.
Do you think,
or that anyone here does?
And this is one of the questions that I'd like to ask about this. In my mind, the crypto market itself is I will use the word immature, and I don't mean that like in a really negative way. I just mean it's a lot of immature investors, right? You have a lot of young people who have either over leveraged themselves. They put way too much money in, or all that they had, or you know, they've come from wealthy families, or whatever it is. But I feel like, you know, the investment mindset of the crypto scene is just a little immature in understanding kind of how the whole machine works. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would absolutely agree with that. One of the things that I've said for a long time is that in this space, typically you've got three groups of people. You've got the first group of people, and this is where it started. They're like the kind of crazy early adopters, right? They're the people that you know, they're on the bleeding edge. You know, if you've been in blockchain for like 10 plus years, you're definitely in this category. Let's do better than that. Like 8+ years, you're definitely in this category. Then we started getting people, and this is the other end of the spectrum, who know nothing. They know nothing. They are interested in nothing. It's just the shell game for them. These are the people that are kind of crazy and kind of dangerous. Then you have the people in the middle who are the new people that are sort of being onboarded into the space. These are the actual users. They're interested in it because of the use case. At the same time, they recognize there's, you know, potential financial considerations, but, you know, they're more here because of what it actually is, and less because of, like, you know, number go up, 1000x, you know, pump, you know, now dump it, now move to the next one. You know, that's the far end of the spectrum, and those people are insane.
They're insane, but I feel like they've kind of been brainwashed is maybe not the right word to think about it, but you hear these stories of people that take $100 and turn it into 10 million, you know, like all the time. And so like that appeal is there. Sure. And I, you know, it's just that, you know,
of course it is.
And I think it's maybe the whole mentality as well of, like, if you look at, you know, the makeup of what people want to be now, right? When we were kids, you wanted to be an astronaut, a firefighter, a policeman, you know, all of the president, all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you ask any kid what they want to be an influencer. They want to be a YouTuber. They want to be a content creator, right? And so it's because they see, like, oh, I could just sit in my room, make music, talk about whatever, and make a ton of money. Like, it's a very viable career option now. And now everybody wants to do it, but maybe they're not willing to put in the work, or they just don't understand how much work it's going to take to make it actually happen.
Well, I mean, the thing is typically speaking, guys, and I'm going to talk about this in a completely, like, I'm just this dude, okay? I'm not, this has nothing to do with Gala. This has nothing to do with Gala Games. This has nothing to do with really anything. It's just my personal opinion, right? You don't typically get 1000x plays or 100x plays on real projects that are really building.
Right.
You should, if you're interested in a project that is a real project and that is really building, you should try to be involved in it because of what it's attempting to accomplish, not just because of the fact that there may be on the other end of this a potential financial gain. If you're looking for those insane 1000x opportunities, there are, pink sheet penny stocks and meme coins. Now that doesn't mean that they don't exist. It's just that shouldn't be the expectation,
right?
Ever.
Right. I mean, the expectation, honestly, is like, for these projects, for you to get those kind of gains, you have to be involved in the private sales or the pre-sales, because that's where that opportunity is. That's where you get it at, a fraction of the price that the public gets it at. But the problem is that's where the VCs get it at, and they can buy a shitload more than you can. And they're the ones who are going to either pump or dump or both the price on that, because most of the time those are VC guys that have, other people's money that they're playing with, and they have to show return. So they don't give a shit about the other small people that have bought in. They're just worried about their bag. Number goes up, sell. Number goes down. Oh, well.
Yep, exactly. And man, this pan is too hot. My pan is too hot. I fucked up.
Got to cool it down a little bit.
I'm going to have to. Once these 3 are done, then I'm going to switch over to a pan cooling, and we'll go from there.
I like that process. That is probably one of the smartest pancake alpha moves I ever, is to cool down in the pan, because I just don't. And then that's what happens when, dad gets to eat the burnt pancakes.
Dude,
because there's no way the ladies are.
It takes 15 seconds to just run it under the cold water really quick. If you have like a really, really crappy like Teflon nonstick, that isn't good for it. But if you've got something, that's a little bit more robust, it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, we are strictly, and hopefully this doesn't sound too snotty, but we are strictly an all-clad pan family, and so all-clad can handle it.
There you go.
Yep,
it's perfectly fine. I do not have a problem with somebody having good cooking equipment.
No, as a former chef in New York, it's kind of like, there was very few things in my life where there are, the tool is more important than some things, right? Like the knife and the pan is more important than sometimes maybe the quality of ingredients. Like on a motorcycle, your helmet and your safety gear is more important than your motorcycle. Sometimes you just got to put the cart before the buggy, or whatever, however that saying goes.
Exactly. I didn't know you were a chef though. That's cool, man. What was your specialty?
Italian is definitely my specialty. The last restaurant that I worked at in New York City was a South African comfort food. So there was a lot of seafood inspired dishes.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was
Nice.
wild. Yeah, it was a fun time. Now that is a different life though. When you are a chef and your significant other is like works a normal day job, like, I would, we get out of the restaurant about 2 a.m, then you go out with everybody till 5 or 6, and then I get home, she's waking up. So that ended so that we could salvage our relationship. And I think it ended up working out. I hope.
There you go, man. Good.
Yes. All right. So guys, we are getting dangerously close to our first workout. Jason, I know that you are making pancakes. So
I am indeed.
So you're already standing up. So if you want to just like walk in place there, like that is totally fine, because you got to maintain that pan temperature.
You got it, man.
But yes, Turbo, you don't have access to music today. Is that correct? So we're going to try mine, and hopefully it doesn't suck.
Yes, of course. And for everybody, this is a great opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like Jay was saying, just to get up. But also, just try, sitting down and then standing up and sitting down and standing up. And then you did a couple of squats, and like you're on your way to getting into this, guys. Because it's all about healthy minds, healthy bodies, and healthy portfolios.
All right, so we're gonna try this. If the song quality is terrible, give me a thumbs down, and we'll try to figure something else out. You guys, it's terrible, man. I don't know what the problem is. All right, so let's just say screw the workout today, because we have no access to music and I can't do quiet workouts. So forget about that. I got to figure this thing out. This is annoying to me. But all right, Jason, let's just get right into this then. So the first thing I want to talk about is building engaging communities within this Web3 space. I think this is very important. I think, the pretty much the pillars of our ecosystem, revolve around building a community, because without it, as a founder, you have nothing. As someone like me who has a show, I have nothing. And so in your opinion, the importance of community engagement in this Web3 ecosystem, what do you think are like some of the most important things with that aspect in mind?
I think that the biggest thing, probably by a long shot, and this is one of the things that makes, Web3 very different, is, keeping open communication, actually talking to people. In blockchain especially, there's a huge amount of what's a good way to put it? There's a lot of bullshit out there, man. Like there's a lot of people doing bad things and hiding. And I think that the best way to help people understand and to answer questions that people have is to actually engage. So one of the things that I do on a very regular basis is we have a room in our Discord called Gala Gold, and I just hang out in there and talk and answer questions and answer difficult questions sometimes. Like people have really difficult questions. You're building a giant ecosystem, right? People are going to ask some difficult questions. And, just being there and engaging in a genuine fashion, in a non-corporate fashion, I think is really important, because the thing that's different about Web3 from, Web2 and other analogs is the fact that we're actually building something together that depends on all of us. This isn't like, EA or, Google or something like that, where there's, a bunch of people who are the ones who are, making all the calls, or not a bunch rather, but a small group of people at the very, very top who are making all the calls. Like when we do stuff with the community is part of whatever that thing is. So, it's part of, choosing the trajectory that games are going to take. It's part of, governance votes running across our node network. All of these things are super important. And in order for it to work, you have to have that very open communication. So that's one of the most important things in my mind is, you have that community, recognize that the community is absolutely the heart of the project. Mm-hmm. It's not me. It's not Benefactor. It's not anyone at Gala. It is the community that is what makes this all work.
I love that. And, like one of the things that you had said, and we've talked about this on the show, and it's actually been a little while since we did. And, I just mentioned, and these are my opinions, and I know that people kind of share them and will agree. And I've heard it from, other spaces and rooms as well, is that, what I said before was, the two pillars, I think the two largest pillars of what Web3 and this ecosystem stands on was community, like I mentioned, but also access, right? And if you think about it like a Venn diagram, there's definitely overlap. And what you just said really kind of just like highlights that point very much, is that access, right? If you are in the Gala community and you have a question, they have access to you straight to the source, right? And if you think about your traditional Web2 worlds, like you can't go into a room and go ask, the whoever is the spokesperson for Coca-Cola a question, right? Like very rarely are you going to get a chance to go into Amazon and ask whoever's in charge, it's obviously not Bezos anymore, and ask any kind of questions, or at least be able to participate in a community discussion forum like we have here in Twitter. Like it's just the access to community is unparalleled here than it is in any other ecosystem.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I am, by the way, trying to figure out how the fuck to post a picture of my pancakes. Oh, there we go.
It's almost like when the people used to go to settle a new town back in forever ago. Like the whole town would have a gun and everybody would hold their own for everybody else, because they didn't want strangers to come in and just have their way with anybody, because the barber was cutting everybody's fucking hair.
Yeah.
The bank was holding everybody's money. They didn't want anybody to come rob the bank.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, I've posted, there you go, pancakes. You can see a little bit hot. That's why they're kind of that blotchy. they've got blotchy going on, but you know, they look damn good.
Where is this at? Up in the net?
But yeah, that's I don't know. I just put it in the Twitter thread.
Okay.
For the spaces.
Hell yeah. I just gotta see these cakes. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh dude, those look great. Yeah, that's a good looking cake.
I mean, they should be smoother. There's I think this next one, I got the heat turned down a little bit. I think these are going to be better.
If you're watching on the live stream,
man, I flipped it too early. Shit.
If you're watching on the live stream, here's my blueberry pancake, loaded with blueberries.
Loaded with blueberries again. I'm gonna go get some chocolate chips. I feel like there needs to be some chocolate chip pancakes happening up in here.
Honestly, like if I were to really figure out what my favorite pancake of all time would be, it would be a blueberry chocolate chip pancake. 100%.
What? Nobody asked for that. That's excessive.
It's excessive. It's gluttonous, and I'm okay with that because
as long as
the two or three
my
times.
daughter knows what I just got. She's, you want some? You want some chocolate chips? Weird that you would want some chocolate chips.
Oh, these kids, man.
Would you like some pancakes?
The
chocolate chips.
Last night we got this tub of the chocolate covered almonds that you can get at Costco, and now my daughter, like, if she hears,
my god,
if she hears that thing shake, she runs down the stairs. Again, she's 1.5. She runs down the stairs. And so like last night at like 10:30, like my mom came in to visit us this week. So my mom was here. So we were up chatting. And so like it's about 10:30 and I go to get a handful of these things. And then she comes around and she goes, she calls them like beans or something. And I go, oh shit. So I grabbed them off the counter and just like threw the jug into the sink. And she was like looking around. She's like, I know I heard that noise. Like, where are those things? I was like, baby, no, it's way too late.
I heard it, Daddy.
Yeah.
I heard it.
Oh my goodness. All right. So
back there we go. That's better.
Okay. I love hearing that we are back on track with the heat of the pan, making those picture perfect cakes. One time I was at a Waffle House and the guy next to me, we're sitting up at the counter, and he got to order before I did, and he said that he wanted a picture perfect waffle. And I was really taken back by that. I was like, and so after he did his order, she went and rang it up, and then before she came back, I asked the guy, I was like, what is a picture perfect waffle? He goes, look at the menu, man. That's a picture perfect waffle right there. I said, okay. And that's how I order them every time moving forward, is I need a picture perfect waffle. So you are making picture perfect pancakes today.
I just gave her pancakes and she handed it back and she's like, chocolate chips, Daddy. I don't want this. I don't want this pancake thing.
I love this. Oh, that's so funny. All right. So getting back to the community conversation here. Obviously, there's a lot of challenges that we're facing right now specifically, right? We've got we're in the depths of a bear market. We like to call it a build market here because there's a lot more opportunities, right?
I like that.
And it's
I like that a lot.
And there's going to be a lot of volatility and chop, over the next several months as we, kind of ramp up towards the next halving cycle. But what some of the challenges that you guys are facing, during this extended bear market or volatility periods with the community, or kind of keeping everybody happy or satisfied with news, because really, even if you came out and said Gala Games cures cancer, like nothing's going to change because not even big headlines are doing anything right now. That's just where we are in the cycle.
No, it's nothing. Yeah, it wouldn't change anything. I think the biggest challenge we have, and this isn't a challenge that we have, just in this build market, as it were. This is a challenge that we have just kind of all the time. It's really two things. The first is that people have very, very skewed expectations for what is supposed to happen, especially in terms of video game development. You remember at Galaverse, we announced a few different games at the first Galaverse, right? Mm-hmm. We announced a few different games, and within 3 months, people were, accusing us of rugging because those games had not yet been released. Video games have a, usually 3-year minimum timeline for an actual game to be released. And so, people just have radically, wildly incorrect expectations about what is supposed to happen there. And that's kind of a problem. And that leads to tension sometimes, because it's like, okay, guys, we announced a thing. we showed a video of a thing. That does not mean that the thing is done being built. It's going to be a while before the thing is done being built. Cool your jets, please. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is for us is, and this is a really big problem that we actually have. And this sounds like one of those, you know, I used to teach interviews for people who are going to go into consulting or to go through their MBA interview. And there's always that bullshit question of like, you know, what's your biggest weakness? And, you know, the interviewer always tries to, you know, kind of coach you to, you know, state a strength as a weakness. Well, my biggest weakness is I just work too hard and I just can't stop working. And it's just so amazing that I work as hard as I do, but it is my biggest weakness. It's one of those things, and it's going to sound like that. But our biggest challenge right now is getting news out broadly enough, because there's so much shit going on in our ecosystem that I cannot keep track of it personally. Like, I have no idea. I know that there was a, you know, big gigantic deal signed over on the Gala Music side of things, and I am not on the Gala Music side of things, so I have no idea what that is. Nor do I really like have an effective way of finding out or knowing whether I can talk about it, because it's not part of sort of like my pipeline, because you can only keep track of so many things at any one time, right? Mm-hmm. And so, you know, that's a big challenge that we have, because there's just so freaking much that it is next to impossible to, you know, stay on top of keeping everybody informed. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that has to be a challenge unto itself. But, you know, because people expect answers from you, like if you're in a space or if you're on an AMA, but I bet it does. Oh, yeah. I bet it does give you some comfort knowing that, like, listen, I don't even have to care about this. Like, that is a different, like, I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm going to do what I do best. I'm going to focus on my expertise in the gaming side, and let the music side do their side. Let the film side do their side. No. You know?
Bucks is killing it. I have zero complaints or criticisms there. She's absolutely killing it, and I just don't know anything about it. It's great. It is wonderful.
Do you think it's like the no news is good news kind of situation there? Because there's no press.
Oh no, it's not that there's
or no bad.
There definitely are press releases. There's stuff that's happening. I don't know what it is, because my own personal bandwidth is completely consumed with 50% of the stuff that's going on the game side or less, you know? So if like I'm already running at capacity in terms of knowing stuff, and that is one of the things that's kind of interesting is, you know, I'll drop into Discord or something like that, and people will ask a question. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. They're like, oh, you don't know? You don't know? How dare you not know? And I'm like, guys, I don't know. It's one of dozens of games that are currently on their way to market. There's no way I can know everything about everything. You know, it's interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Max, I saw you had your hand up there. What's up? GM, by the way.
Yeah, I was just gonna say GM, guys. In a minute. I was just gonna say that I am actually in the Gala, like, nodes, film, music, and games. So nice. I have all of them. And as a person on the other end, it is damn confusing in Discord. Let me just tell you.
Oh, I'm sure. I know it is. I know it's confusing. I just don't know how to fix it, I guess.
You know what? I mean, I think what you guys are doing is actually pretty good. That, like, you guys each have your own lanes and you kind of stick into it, and it's okay not to know what the other people are doing. Maybe just like have like a little powwow weekly, just like main points of like from every aspect of it, and then that way everyone's kind of at least caught up to date, but not actually in the total know. But at least you'll know like the important things if people ask.
Yeah, that is something that we try to do, but with you know, all of the time zones and all of the everybody being everywhere and doing all the things, like any one of us could have 14 to 16 hours of back-to-back meetings in a day.
Yeah, you know, just have a channel that's kind of locked to you guys, and then that way, like, you know, you'll have your known film, like the film, music, and game, and then just put the importance in. If people want to read it, they read it. If they don't want to be informed, they don't want to be informed. And it's on the individuals.
Yeah, no, that's a good show. We do have some of that, but then it depends on who's going to be posting what and whether they're sharing all of that or keeping it close to the chest for announcements
Very true.
PR purposes. Because the other problem that happens is if I know something but I don't know enough, okay, to get a full picture of it, I still can't talk about it. But then I actually know something, so it's possible for me to let something slip accidentally in for example, like I said, I know that a big gigantic contract was signed, don't know with who. So, it's impossible for me to accidentally drop that news, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's fair too. I get that totally.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps you. Yeah, it keeps you from having that either the responsibility or the feeling like
I don't want to know.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like you don't want to spill the beans. Let that particular ecosystem. Let them do their thing. Now, do you guys have any? And we can talk. We can talk about Gulliver's at some other point later if you want. Or do you have anything planned for the community this year? For what you guys been doing, because I'll tell you what, man, I missed obviously the one in Europe, and I'm so sad that I did. But it was
pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool.
I know, because I think Brian and TJ and a couple of those guys went, and they said it was like amazing.
If you're a foodie, and you obviously are, food in Malta is insane. The food we had at the event in Malta was not great. Unfortunately, that was one of the things that we're like, guys, come on, we got to do better than this. This is not cool. But the food in Malta in general, amazing stuff. European food, like actual European food in Europe, is amazing. American food in America is kind of poison, but European food in Europe, pretty impressive stuff.
I have heard that.
And
go ahead,
dude, like it's crazy. So. The one last thing about Malta and food. Malta is known for its potatoes, which I did not know. And there's like 14 types of potatoes or something like that on the island, and they're amazing. Like they taste totally different than potatoes that I've ever like any potato that I've ever had. It's totally incredible. Like I had no idea that there were even really potato variants. Because like for me, I grew up a poor kid. Like I was free trailer poor. So that means that I was born in a trailer that my family was living in for free. Okay, so free trailer poor. So for me, there's potatoes, which are the big gigantic, brown ones, and then if you're fancy, red potatoes. Mm-hmm. Those are the types of potatoes that exist. And in Malta, to know that there's like 14 variants or something like that, crazy. But yeah, so talking about American food, because you guys are health oriented gentlemen, yeah?
We're getting there. We're working on it.
You want to hear a crazy thing?
Yes.
Okay, so I lived in Asia for like a decade. Okay, and I immigrated to Canada. But before I finished coming to Canada, I stayed in the United States for a couple months. Now, immediately prior to leaving Thailand, I went to the doctor, had my whole blood work done. Okay. All my numbers, basically perfect. Big dude, but great numbers. I come to the United States. I stay in the United States for like 4 months. Okay. I end up with this weird rash. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Go to the doctor. Doctor says it's a skin infection because my sugar levels are too high.
Interesting.
Okay. Now again, before I left Thailand, all my sugar levels were fine. They take a blood test, and my A1C was 14.1. I was basically made out of syrup. I did not change the stuff that I was eating. Okay. No major dietary changes, nothing. But living in the United States, 5 months, my sugars went completely to hell. I moved to Canada and they resolved.
That's so crazy.
That's crazy. I had a friend that did the exact opposite. He moved from the United States to Germany, did not change his diet at all. And the next time he like took a picture and posted it online, he was like 50 pounds lighter. And I was like, how the fuck did that happen in such a short time? And he literally said, it's everything they put in our food, man.
It's everything. The pesticides, like it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. So yeah, I encourage everybody to take a very, very, very close look at what you eat because they're feeding us poison, guys.
The Walmart brands, they're getting caught. I've seen a lot of videos of like a lot of stuff was out of stock for a really long time, and then all of a sudden it came back with really, really weird ingredients like insects and like all kinds of weird shit.
Wild.
Oh yeah. Like the broccoli, now their packaged frozen broccoli has fucking sugar on it. Like it's like what? Like it's frozen broccoli. What does it need? Shit literally is broccoli and sugar are the two ingredients in the bag.
What the fuck? Sugar in broccoli?
Dead serious.
Crazy.
Like if you go and look at their stuff, it's broccoli / sugar, and that's the only two ingredients.
Wow.
That just seems unnecessary.
That's
Absolutely.
does, right?
Turbo.
I mean, it's not as unnecessary as chocolate chips and blueberries and pancakes, but
How about
my shoulder.
chocolate chip pancakes with blueberry syrup?
Okay, go Turbo. Turbo is so tired of holding his hand up.
I just wanted to ask Jason about grit.
Yeah, man.
Because man, this is like, can you tell us anything that's going on? Like, I truly believe that like grit is going to be the game that like puts Web3 on the market. I
love grit. I also love Last Expedition. Yesterday we had a really, really cool thing because I don't know if you guys knew this, but AWS had a massive outage yesterday on the US East 1, their Virginia server cluster. And that took down a lot of crap. And one of the things that it took down is Auth0, which is one of the or OAuth rather, which is one of the services that we use to allow people single sign-on the platform and stuff. And I was able to, while this was down, people were like, "Oh, centralized. This is bullshit. I bet you can't even play games. I bet Last Expedition's actually centralized. Can you even play it right now?" And it was really cool to be able to get on Twitch and stream playing Last Expedition off of one of the community nodes that is owned by one of our community members. Super, super cool. But to answer your question, Grit, there's a bunch of stuff that's being worked on with Grit in terms of the economy and the reward structure and stuff like that. So yes, there's definitely things that are happening there. I can't go too deep into it right now, but expect an update on that in the fairly near future.
Boom.
Yo, thank you for that, 7.
Oh, I just want to know when can I play that game because I literally heard about it through the grapevine before they even announced it, and then I was like, "This isn't real. There's no way this is real." And then when they announced it, I lost my mind because I'm a huge gamer, and I play anything. So and Grit was like the baby of Red Dead Redemption and Fortnite. So I was like, yeah, I'll play the hell out of this.
Dude, you can play it now. You can play it now if you want. Go to Epic and download it and play it. Free to play.
Oh my gosh, what? I didn't even know that you could play it yet. I've been so deep in Zelda, so I don't know what's going on in the real world.
That is forgivable. Last night I started playing Diablo 4. And Diablo.
I don't know if anybody knows, but GameStop just released all these Illuvatars for the Illuvium game, and they're like ridiculous how funny they are. Like they're like
nice.
GameStop themed ones, and they all look so funny.
Cool. That's kick-ass. I love seeing Web 2 and Web 3 interactions in the space. It makes me happy.
Do you so I love kind of where this is headed now, because Jason, we've talked about what are the two kind of inflection points for where we'll see the critical mass of mass adoption into our ecosystem, and we're probably all of the same belief that it's going to come in two ways. It's music, gaming. What are your thoughts on and maybe just like the timeline of what's it going to take? Is it one game, one platform? Is it like Epic coming together? Is it Fortnite saying, we've got NFTs? Like, what's it going to take to bring people in through gaming?
So what I think is going to happen, and this is, or actually before I tell you what I think is going to happen, I'm going to tell you what I think is happening right now. Okay. There is a huge amount of anti-Web3 pushback, okay, that is that we all have to deal with, right? And a lot of this in the gaming space comes from sort of traditional Web 2 gaming publications. I believe that traditional Web 2 gaming publications, which are primarily funded by traditional Web 2 gaming platforms and companies, are highly incentivized to basically talk shit, if you will, about the Web3 space. And so there's essentially, you don't ever want to piss your advertisers off, right? And your advertisers don't know what to do with this Web3 stuff. So let's just, talk about it like it's the worst thing ever, right? This is where you get your PC Gamer and your Kotakus and things like that. Now, what's going to happen, and I think that this is going to happen almost literally overnight, is a major Web 2 gaming company is going to figure out how to effectively monetize NFTs and Web3 principles. The moment that happens, now keep in mind, they're not going to call it NFTs.
Right.
They're going to call it like digital assets, or they're going to call it real ownership, or they're going to call it, they're going to have some other term. And the moment that they release that as a concept, all of this resistance will evaporate overnight.
Right.
Because I go ahead.
Do you think they're going to pull like a Reddit situation where it's just going to be like completely ominous, and then they're going to tell everybody, oh, by the way, everything in your like backpack or whatever is in the game is completely sellable, and then everybody's going to spaz out like
exactly. And they'll it's going to happen where they have, I'm sorry, I'm knocking children's toys all over the place. It's one of those things. It's like you walk around your house. It's kind of like, walking through a minefield.
Oh yeah. I'm not looking forward to the Lego phase. I'm going to tell you that.
No, me neither. So I think that what's going to happen is that they're going to have their own platform, their own trading platform. Initially, it won't be interoperable with anything else. It's probably going to be on some, heavily permissioned chain, or something like that. Or they may even do it in a way that is initially purely database backed, and then will gradually move towards blockchain, probably once there's some ridiculous exploit or something like that. But I think that that's going to be the way that it initially goes. And then once you break down that initial resistance, what you end up with is games where people own stuff and games where people don't. And that's it. That's the only distinction. And, the hows of ownership will not be nearly as important. And to be completely honest, the hows of ownership don't matter to anyone but blockchain people. Right? Like if you own stuff, you just want to own stuff. If if you're a blockchain person, then you actually care about how that happens. So I think that that's going to be an interesting little distinction that eventually reveals itself. But yeah, that's how I think that the change is going to come.
Do you think that before we even have that, I think this is like the first step regulation, like in some way, shape, or form, needs to come, at least clarity, right? So that you've got these big time companies like the Sonys, the Googles, the, you know, whatever, before they come in and make their splash, they need to know what they're getting into, correct? So that they don't get themselves into a position where now all of a sudden they've got a, you know, $1 billion fine that they got to pay because they didn't understand that, you know, by airdropping this NFT was going to cost all these, you know, whatever.
Right. I think that, yes, that's going to be a thing. Although I also think this is gonna be a little bit spicy.
I love it.
Can I have a slightly spicy conversation here?
I love spicy.
I don't think that our regulatory agencies have any idea what they're doing.
No.
None.
They have zero idea. And what you're seeing right now is you're seeing a lot of sort of flailing in the dark and, you know, lashing out at things that they don't really understand. They have some sort of intuitive feeling that these things are bad, or in the case of certain individuals who shall remain nameless, he who shall not be
Gary
named.
Gensler. We can talk. We can say his name.
Well,
Lizard Gary.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
We hate Gary.
So lizard people. You know, I think that there's potentially some interesting connections to, you know, previously collapsed exchanges and things like that are possibly relevant to this conversation. And I'm seeing, fortunately, now starting good bit of pushback from other public servants against some of these things that are highlighting some of those potential issues. And I think that that's a really, really important thing because, you know, overreach is a bad thing. Overreach is always a bad thing. Mm-hmm. But if the system self-corrects, that's great. If the system doesn't self-correct, we really have a problem. So we'll see what happens. Although I know that, you know, the United States is losing out big time by pushing all of these companies, you know, offshore.
Right. I mean, even Coinbase, like that seems to be kind of the new headline now with Coinbase, where it sounds like it's really going to be a nothing burger anyway. But I forget what country even reached out to Brian Armstrong and said, "Here, just move your operation over here. Like you're totally fine here."
I think it was Hong Kong.
I think,
if I remember correctly, which I don't know that would work perfectly well, but you know, because that Hong Kong has its own separate set of issues. But
this is true.
You know. I it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. You know,
and I made a lot of pancakes.
You did.
This is like serious overkill on number of pancakes I'm creating here. I think I thought I was making pancakes for everyone in the space.
Well, no, so guys, everybody, come on up to the buffet, grab yourself some pancakes. It's good. You know, Jason, I don't know if you've done this. This is what we do in our house, and it seems to work really well. Is that we will one day just go crazy making waffles or pancakes, and then you freeze the rest of them, and then you just pop them then you pop them in the toaster for like 30 seconds, and then boom, pancakes any day you need them, or waffles any day you need them.
Yep, we actually have a small strategic reserve of frozen pancakes already. Those were frozen banana pancakes, so these will be added to that.
Speaking of, I know that there was a couple when we were talking about the pancakes. There was a couple comments on YouTube. We got Iram said banana and chocolate pancakes. We've got let's see. I thought there was another one, but yeah, banana and chocolate pancakes. I think maybe you put a little crumble bacon in there, and we might be onto something.
It works, man. It works. Butterscotch chips, also a nice addition.
Oh. All right. See, all these things, these different, concoctions that we make as our families, that takes us a perfect segue into the second half of the conversation. And this is what I want to call like the power of the personal connection, right? You know, some of the experiences and challenges that, you know, us as dads, you know, that we have in this Web3 world, you know, and then maybe some of the being a parent, how that influences your perspective on the community and how you choose to engage with them. and then let's get into some strategies for balancing family life and stuff. I think this is these are just the kind of, as men in the space, and I know we have women in the crowd too. So I think you just reverse the script as a mom, because we're all playing that same role where we're trying to make something happen. We work these long hours, we travel a lot, we do all these things, and it's no secret that if you have a family, if you have a significant other that and you participate in Web3 full time, there's some neglect that happens, right? Like we're at our desks a lot, we're on meetings a lot, calls a lot. So what are some of your insights that you've got for your experience as being a family man, but also being in this crazy ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the first thing, and this is hugely important to me. The first thing is that being a father makes me a better worker and better member of the community, because if you've got a kid, anyone who knows, or anyone who has a kid knows this feeling where you want pretty much more than anything for your kids to be proud of you. You don't ever want to do something that your kid would be ashamed of at some point in time. You just have to hold yourself to a higher standard as a parent than you did when you weren't a parent. And so I think that's, for me, that's something that's super important. And this is one of the reasons that I like knowing that people in this space have children, because you're by having children, you put yourself into a position where your most important job, is to make the world a better place for that child. Okay, that doesn't just mean make your world a better place, okay? Because they don't just get to live in your world, they have to live in the rest of the world too. And so you have a duty to yourself and to your child to make a difference, to make a positive difference, and to never, ever stop making that difference. And so I feel that that's something that's super important. And then, well, before my father passed away, one of the things that he said, and this is something that I want to pass on to my children. So my father passed away from early onset Alzheimer's. He was 57 when he died, which is like crazy early for Alzheimer's. And one of the things that he said is, and this was like, I don't know, a year before he died, probably, we were having a conversation, and it was one of our last like real conversations, because he was losing the ability to speak coherently very quickly. I sat down with him outside my sister's house, and I asked him, I'm like, Dad, what is one piece of advice that you would like to give me and the rest of the world? And he thinks about it for a second, and he had such a hard time speaking. He had basically lost the ability to speak in clear, cogent strings. And he said, well, don't be an asshole. If you're going to do something and it makes you an asshole, don't do that thing. And it seems really simple when you say it that way, but like, when you look at running a project, oh man, I just fucking threw a pancake all over the fucking place. It's a disaster. If you look at running a project, talking to people, engaging with people, right? Like there's always, and the community teaches me this time and time and time again, and I ask their forbearance and forgiveness, because sometimes people will come at you with like difficult questions, or they'll kind of be a little bit of an asshole, and you have two ways to respond. You can choose your response. You can choose to be helpful, kind, and recognize that whatever the thing that they're dealing with, is scary and difficult, and then to answer the question that they ask in like a kind, helpful manner, or you could be an asshole. And don't do that. Don't do the asshole part. You know, like yesterday when AWS was down, I was hanging out in Discord, and some dude, you know, said, you know, I'm having login problems. You know, what's the problem? And it was 5 minutes later that I happened to drop into the chat, and in the course of 5 minutes, you know, he's like, oh, there's this problem. I can't log in. Gosh, it'd be nice if they'd say something. And I'm like, dude, hey, it's been like 5 minutes. What the fuck? Hi, I'm here. AWS is down, login issues, whatever. And I didn't handle it the way that I should have, because I got like a little bit defensive, because I was like, well, shoot, you know, he's being unreasonable, expecting, you know, somebody within mere moments of him saying, you know, my login is not working, what's going on, for somebody to be like, oh my gosh, here it is. And I thought, you know, 5 minutes, that's a decent response time, you know, especially since it wasn't a widely known issue at the time. But the thing that I forgot in that moment, because, you know, I was on calls and I was dealing with, you know, a bunch of other stuff too at the time, and also, you know, dealing with the fact that AWS was down and, you know, our own Slack was blowing up and engineers were, you know, doing things. I forgot in that moment that he was scared and that he was worried about something that he was a part of. And he just wanted to know that everything was going to be okay. And instead of coming in and reassuring, I was kind of an asshole, and I shouldn't have been. So I apologize. I don't even remember what your name was, which is probably another asshole thing I'm doing. But, you know, that's a to me, one of the most important things, and one of the reasons that, you know, I always try to be better, because that's what's needed for my family.
Humility and grace. And I feel you though, man. Like, you know, I do feel that. And if, you know, and not too many people like have played the role of, you know, community manager, or, you know, the in charge of answering the questions, you know, kind of in charge of, you know, making sure that the community is happy. And I tell you what, man, there are times where it does get frustrating. And you know,
it's so frustrating some days.
You answer the same question, you know, over and over. It's just like, hey, asshole, like if you just read the pinned message, like I wouldn't have to even respond to you. Like, it's that easy. But, you know, it is just the way that it is. But, you know, like you said, reminding yourself, taking that moment to just sit there and say, you're right, man, this guy's got an issue. You know, maybe he's worried about his assets. Maybe he's worried about this. Maybe he's having just, and you know, this is one of those other things that we talk about, is that you just never know what somebody else is going through. And so while it may seem like, you know, a nothing burger, you know, the sky could be absolutely falling in other realms. And this was that final straw. And so, yeah, that little bit of grace, that little bit of humility there goes a long way. But sometimes I tell you what, man, it's just, you know, when you're burnt out, and I don't want to say burnt out, but like when you're, you know, when you're grinding both ends of the candle, and you just get that same
little bit crispy, a little
crispy. You're like, listen, man, just give me some time, back off.
You know, one of the things that, so I had a professor back years and years ago. Her name was Kimba, and she encouraged us to read a speech that was given. It was a commencement address that was given by David Foster Wallace to a group of students at Kenyon College.
Gambier,
and the title of this, there you go. And the title of the address, and I highly encourage everybody to look it up and read it. It's like 4 pages or something like that, 5 pages. Super important. But the title of it was "This is Water," and it goes through this whole thing where it's like, you have the ability to choose how you respond to things. You have the ability to choose in your own mind, absent any other information, to look at their whatever the situation is. Someone cuts you off in traffic, someone is a dick in Discord, someone, you know, says a mean thing. You have the ability to choose within your own mind the narrative that explains why that happens. And you can either choose the narrative of they're an asshole, or you can choose the narrative of, this guy cut me off in traffic. Maybe he's taking his wife to the hospital. She's in labor. Who knows, right? You don't know. You have zero information. And so because you have zero information, you get to choose how you respond to that and what it means to you, which I think is really cool and something that we should all do in the space.
I mean,
community too, by the way.
Yeah,
Because if I'm an asshole to you, I apologize, but I promise you, I've got like 500 other things that are exploding in my face at that exact moment. If I'm short.
So how has parenthood specifically, and I know that you kind of touched on that a second ago, but to kind of get back into that, how has parenthood, being a dad over the last several years, how does that, like, when you think about it? Because like for me, like I was a very impatient person. I've always been a very impatient person. Over the course of the last 19 months, my daughter is going to be 2 in a couple months. Over the last the course of her life, I know that my patience level has changed to a very major degree, right? And so like for me, that's what I learned, was finally learned a little bit of patience. What are some of the things that has really influenced your life and perspective, like when it comes to the community, engaging with them, that you can carry over from what you've learned from your daughters to be able to handle situations?
Well, I think the patience is a really big one. And the other thing is, and the community may not like this one. The other thing is that whatever the catastrophe is, whatever's happening, doesn't matter. It will not interrupt bath time. And whatever the disaster is will still be there when bath time is done and the kids are in bed.
Yeah.
And so for me, one of the things that I've had to do is I've drawn some pretty hard lines. Like these are some times where I'm just not available. I will not answer Slack messages. I will not answer calls. Doesn't really matter what's happening. It's bath time. Yeah. And I actually have 2 daughters. I have one daughter who's going to be 2 in a couple months, like your own, and I have another daughter that's about 5 months old. And one parent trying to do bath time is not okay, not doable. With kids at that, I mean, it just becomes an exercise in futility and pain. And so that's one of the things that for me, I've learned to do, is that, you always want to be there for the community. You always want to be there for people. The best way that you can do that is by being there and showing up for your own family when they need you, so that you can get them taken care of, get them put to bed, so that you can focus 100% on whatever needs to be focused on.
That to me is, one of the things that I am still trying to figure out, is that balance. And I've gone through phases, where I will block out specific portions of my schedule so that nothing can get scheduled, no calls, no nothing. And I feel like sometimes, you just find that way where like, there's like, this, like you said, this shitstorm is happening, or this is happening. And I really need to be here and focus on this, because if I don't, I'm going to be so far behind. But at the same time, man, and it just makes so much more sense if you just wait at the end of that bath time, or you could read a couple extra books or whatever it is, that shit's still going to be there. So just let it sit, let it marinate, be present in the moment. And that's, I've learned the patience thing, but I think the being present more in the moment for the fam at certain times, I think that's where, I need a little bit more grace. It's
so important. It's so important because, the reality is that I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna sound kind of messed up, I guess. But in 100 years, all of the stuff that we're working on, we're building awesome stuff. We're in 100 years, but in 100 years, like very few 45-minute segments of stuff that happens in our daily life will be important. Do you know what I'm saying?
A very small percentage.
Like maybe none. Like maybe none. But like as a 45-minute segment, I think that most of the stuff that we engage with on a daily basis will essentially be, you know, I don't want to say meaningless, but it's just not going to have the same importance. Mm-hmm. But if you fuck up on being a father, that shit will last forever, because that pain gets passed from person to person, from generation to generation. And you never know when spending an extra 10 minutes to read Scuffy the Tugboat, or to watch your daughter push her unicorn around, you never know when that's going to make a difference, when that's going to be the memory that sticks.
Yeah.
You know?
Golly, man, that's the kind of stuff that means so much. And, you know, in these messages, and, you know, like it, you know it in the back of your head, but, you know, you have these conversations,
yeah.
and you start to think of like, man, like, you know, like last night I read 2 books, and then, you know, like I could have read more, and my daughter asked for more, but I said, no, Daddy's got to get back to work. Like, and what's wrong with me? Like, read 2 more books. Just read 2 more. Like I can get to those emails in 30 minutes. Like, it's fine. Like, I'm gonna be up.
Exactly. They're not going anywhere. No. What really the moment that I had this realization, okay, is a couple of months ago, where my daughter has this little wagon, okay, and it's like a little truck thing, and so she has a little bunny that she puts in the front of the wagon to drive it, of course, obviously, and she has a toy sloth that goes in the back of the wagon. And she told us that the bunny was Daddy, and it was driving the sloth back and forth across the living room. And what was interesting is that she would drive it back and forth across the living room, and then Bunny would go to take a nap. And then it'd get up and it would drive back and forth across the living room again, and then it would take another nap. And it made me realize that most of the time, my daughter never really saw me, because I was, upstairs working in meetings. And the rest of the time she saw me was only when I was like exhausted. I would drive the rest of the family around, and then I'd crash out for 20 minutes because it's the only time I really had sleep. So my daughter looked at me as a driving sleeping machine, not as a dad. And so I was like, okay, well, I need to focus a little bit. And so now I'll do things where, a lot of times if people see me in Discord, I'm actually sitting with my daughter and, playing blocks or playing stuffed animals, or, having tea or whatever it is. And she's there playing, and I'm engaging with her, and, keeping a little bit of a light conversation going with the community, answering a few questions here and there. But that's me a lot of the time, and it makes a huge difference in my mind, and hopefully in hers as well.
Hell yeah.
Man, I put so much chocolate in this pancake. This is amazing.
Oh, that is nothing better than a gooey chocolate pancake. I'll tell you that. No, like when you get the opportunity.
Pancake batter is exhausted, so.
That's it. So how many cakes did you
All
make
done.
total? A dozen?
Okay, so it's like my wife had 2. Little one had 1. I kind of nibbled on one. So we have an additional 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I have 12 more. So it looks like I got about 15 pancakes out of this.
All right, that's a good
15, 16 pancakes.
Good batch of cakes, man. So if you guys you did hear, he's got a couple left. So if you are still hungry, make yourself on over to the buffet line, scoop up a cake. We got syrup in the house. Put a little drizzle of syrup on there for you, and these are chocolate cakes. So get ready.
So yeah, man, that's to me that's the most important thing is that I have to be both things. I can't not be a dad. I can't not be a husband. I can't not be somebody who's also there for the community and for the company. So
it's the whole balanced approach is the most important thing to all this, and making sure, and then we talk about this, and it goes along with when we do our workouts and all that stuff, is having that healthy mind. It's that perfect balance. A lot of this wears on your mentals, and we know that mental health is a struggle for most of the people in the space, whether it's a financial loss or it's the time consumption or it's you know, the energy suck that some people have. We like to call those energy vampires. You know, there's a lot of things that that really can affect you mentally. And you know, I know that if we do have that balanced approach, and you do make sure that you've got that time to get away from your computer, spend the time with the people that you love or the people that love you, you know, it definitely clears things up. And hopefully, you know, we can you know, we talked about this on the show the other day. I think it was on Monday when we had Reach Metaverse in. You know, we were talking about, you know, the balance of, you know, as we get into, you know, further development of the metaverse and the ability for people to log in and stay there, you know, the making sure that we disconnect and connect with people on a physical level is so important.
Yeah.
So,
did I just lose you guys?
No, that was me.
It sounded like you got clipped.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was me. It was a spam call that came in. Apparently, the do not disturb, I didn't set it correctly because that spam call just got in. So sorry about that. But all right.
Not a problem.
I want to get to this next little section here, kind of look into the future of what you guys got going on, you know, the evolving landscape that is Web3 here, and any future plans that you guys got to, you know, to engage the community in other ways, whether it's, you know, another Galaverse, you know, here in the States or another part of the world, or if you don't want to talk about it yet, you don't have to do that if that's even a thing.
Well, I've got some stuff I can talk about. The part that I'm not entirely sure I can talk about is the naming part of things. Well, it is that I take it back. It's funny because I know that if members of the community are listening to this, and actually since I'm done cooking pancakes, I'm going to sit down here and I'm going to look and see who's actually in this space really quick, because I know that, you know, people are probably thinking I'm talking about the name of the chain, but that's not what I'm talking about. Can you guys hear me? It says connecting. I don't know if...
Yep, I can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. This must be just Twitter being a pain in the ass. Anyway, so one of the things that we did kind of towards the beginning of this year is we released our Vision 2023 document. And it went into some of what we've got going on in terms of, you know, games and some of the token stuff and you know, our plans for the V2 upgrade, which went swimmingly, by the way. Mm-hmm. You know, and a few other things like that. But one of the things that was in there that we haven't talked a lot about is Gala Friends. Ooh. And that's what it's called in there. I don't know if that's what it's going to end up being called long term, but that's a good working name. And you know, we've got some pretty interesting stuff that's coming, and it's going to go in a direction that I don't think anyone is expecting. So that's going to be fun when people when that announcement comes across everybody's feed. So that's one thing. The next thing is the continued growth and evolution of sort of our models for games and how the ecosystems within those games function. If you don't know, and I feel like most people probably know this, since I can't actually see the space or see anything or see the chat or anything like that, please somebody stop me and tell me if this is incorrect. We experiment a lot. One of the reasons that we have so many different things going at any one time, and this is very, very different from, you know, a lot of other projects that have like one thing, is by having multiple things, we can look at these each individually as test beds for specific types of systems and ecosystems and you know, practices and whatnot. And the best practices, as they are determined by their, you know, success or failure in you know, one particular area, are gradually, you know, sort of disseminated across the rest of the organization and work their way into different things. And so one of the things that we've done is, you know, because we're constantly running these experiments, we'll try something, we'll recognize that this thing doesn't work, so we'll change it, we'll modify it, we'll update it, like we did with Spider Tanks. When we initially first launched Spider Tanks on PC, it had a particularly restrictive economy behind it, and it just didn't work. It just didn't work. And so, we collected data on that. We tested it out. We tested a few other little bits and pieces in relation to that. And we finally come to an ecosystem that is going quite well. It has its own token related to the game. It has systems in place that help incentivize the use of that token within the ecosystem and disincentivize its use for as speculation, if you will. But really makes a tight, awesome game where you can play to own, play to earn, and play and earn is the most important thing for me. So you're going to see a lot of growth of different ecosystems that we found to be successful across other games. So that, I think, is going to be a good thing. That's going to make people very happy. The Gala Friends thing is one of the ones that I'm most excited about, though. I want to talk more about that, but I totally can't.
No, that's totally
get
cool.
Me in trouble.
Maybe
awesome.
when you guys do more of a rollout or release, you can come back and we can chat more about it. But I'll tell you what,
I don't know if you're going to want to talk to me again that soon, man. Just
come on. You're one of the
just
saying.
Now.
This was great. What do you mean?
Anytime we can make pancakes.
There's going to be some
while we do a show.
Dude, I love pancakes.
And
can we barbecue?
Can we barbecue?
Home
dad stuff is really fun talks too.
Okay, actually, so this is Jason. I'm glad that you asked that question. And so I'm in the community of the Crypto Dads. Crypto Dads is an NFT collection. They've also got the Crypto Moms. But Sunday is Father's Day, and so we're going to be doing a special show with the Crypto Dads on Father's Day, and we're going to be grilling. So if anybody wants to hang out and grill and chill on Father's Day, I think it's either 11 to noon or noon to 1 Eastern is when we're going to do that show.
11 to noon to 1. Okay, that's a little early for grilling, but I can make it work.
And
actually, I think I might have a children's fair to go to or something like that. I hear, but we'll see. Awesome. We'll see if I can be there. I'll be there, and I will fire up the grill and throw a tri-tip on.
Oh man, tri-tip. That's the move. I know you can get some pretty solid tri-tip over at Costco. Done that a few times, and that sucker grills up really quick. Now before we end it, because I know you're a busy guy, we had you for an hour and a half. That's kind of feel like I've taken too much time from your day. Want to see?
Not at all, man.
Oh, well, I appreciate you, man. I definitely appreciate you being here. I don't know if there's anybody here in the crowd that's got any questions. We can definitely do a couple for Q&A, and then we'll run this one out for the day. So, guys, just much like we do with the show all the time, this is a show for the community by the community. I'm a community member first. So, if you guys want to be, up on stage, you ask a question to Jason or anybody else up here, make sure that you raise your hand. Now is your time to do that before we end this one for the day. So, make sure. Seven, you got anything to add on this? Okay.
No, I'm in the middle of chasing down a poopy diaper.
Chasing down a poopy diaper. There you go.
Yeah, he's running away from me because he knows.
Oh no, he's running away. Oh god.
He actively, like hilariously now, when he knows he poops, he thinks it's funny to not tell me. And then when I find out, he runs away from it. It's not. I don't know what this is. I didn't do this with the last one, so I'm just like, what do you mean?
Why do you want to keep this? I hear boys and girls are different about these things. My daughter's like, Dad, change the diaper.
Yeah, girls don't like
time.
They do not like to be messy, from what I understand. And I've got my daughter the same way. It's immediately like, now she's telling us like, poop. It's like, all right, let's go.
Oh, he'll tell me sometimes, but he won't. Like when he doesn't tell me, it's like he wants to keep it until it turns to gold or some shit. I don't know.
Oh no.
We could have a whole like dad space about this.
Oh, we could.
That would be.
Oh my god.
That would be a lot of fun. I see the Zorro Gala came up. What is up, family? Welcome to the stage. Welcome to Web3 Breakfast. How are you?
Good. Thank you. I just have one question for Jason. Jason, how many hotcakes you? What's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing okay.
I see that.
What was your question?
How many hotcakes you have already?
How many have I had? I
nibbled.
had like I nibbled while talking. I didn't want to. And to be completely honest, I picked the chocolate chips out of one of them, and so it's there looking like a mutilated, sad thing. But only one. I don't eat a lot anymore. I've really been trying to control what I'm eating, and because I don't want to die, because my blood pressure for a long time was like high score level. Like, I would have blood pressure that was consistently like 180 over 110, like all the frickin' time. And when you put on the blood pressure monitor, like they have the seek medical attention, and you're like, fuck that, I don't have time for that shit.
Yeah.
So I've been trying really hard to bring myself down. And so I've over the past couple months, I've lost about last 3 months, I've lost about 30 pounds, and my blood pressure is now almost normal human level, where it's just the blood pressure monitor turns yellow now instead of like deep crimson red with flashy lights. Yeah.
Call an ambulance.
Seriously, it looked like a fucking Star Trek red alert before. I expected to hear Captain Picard damage report in the background.
And Shatner's just yelling at you. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Zorro, so for full transparency, I had 3 pancakes. I ate them all. I used every bit of syrup that my wife brought on the little ramekin of syrup. I wish that I had about 3 times the amount. That's my thing. That's why I cannot eat pancakes, waffles, or French toast very often, because I am more addicted to the syrup than anything else.
Well, syrup's amazing. Real maple syrup, I assume, yes?
Yeah, 100%. We actually found out. I don't see Carrie in here today. Carrie must be busy. But Carrie was telling us that if you chug full maple syrup, I think you start hallucinating, and you should not be doing that. It is, first off, it's too costly. But you don't want to have the syrup hallucinations. I don't know if those are good ones.
That's why they do it in Super
terrible.
Troopers. In that scene, that's why they make the rabbit guy chug the syrup, because they want him to have the whole hallucination thing.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just assumed that was a Canadian cop thing.
It's just a hazing of, because I've chugged the maple syrup before, and it was not a fun situation.
Oh, that sounds terrible. Did you have a liter of cola with it?
No. And I didn't get basted with powdered sugar either. So.
Love it.
Oh man.
Come on. Anyone else have any questions? Come on, guys. I'm here to
say Ramrod.
Shenanigans.
I love this. We definitely, Jason, I appreciate you being here. And if if nobody has any questions, give you final thoughts, key takeaways from today. I definitely have mine, but I do really want to I'm going down, looking through the crowd, and there are definitely some people in here. I want to say hello to Yuki. Jason, Euclid. He was actually at that first gala, so I see him down in the crowd. What is up, family? Thank you for being here. We see MetaRide's got his hand up. What's up? Are you Hermie or are you Craig?
Oh, you got Hermie today. What's up, boys?
There we go.
Listen, I'm getting pulled in every direction. We're minting today for the first time. We partnered with Unstoppable Domains. I just wanted to jump up and say hello. Everybody in the space, check out what we're doing, interoperable metaverse ready vehicles. And Craig is pinging me right now, so I'm going to go, but just wanted to stop in and say hello and let you know that it's a huge day for MetaRide, so check it out.
All right. Thank you, Hermie.
Well done.
Definitely. Appreciate you guys. We love MetaRides. Jason, I don't know if you know anything about them, but one of the coolest things that I appreciate about their ecosystem that they're building is that it's for the Web3 musicians in mind, right? So while you're in the game, play and drive around in your car, obviously you got the soundtrack, you can play the tunes, but you can actually go right there from that screen and go into wherever the artist has their collection for sale. You can go there and buy those NFTs right off the rip. I thought that was a great way, and they don't take any cut of that whatsoever. That is strictly between the artist and the consumer. It's just an outlet for them. I love that idea. How we can collaborate more with the artists and the people that are really kind of making this ecosystem what it should be. Support the artist and the builders.
I dig it, man. That's cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, no other questions, guys. Jason, again, I appreciate you being here, man. Some of my key takeaways from this whole thing is, one, first off, thank you for telling the story about your father and kind of, the message that he gave you. I think that it resonates with a lot of people. Don't be an asshole. We have one rule on our show, and it's don't be a douchebag, right? It's like that same thing. Don't be a racist. Don't be a homophobe, and don't be a sexist, right? Like, just don't be a douchebag. Don't be an asshole. Like, be present for your family. Make those decisions that are going to improve your life, improve their life, and the generations to come. And so, guys, I appreciate everybody being here. This has been an amazing Web3 breakfast with BitBender, Jason Brink of Gala Games. So, man, definitely would love to have you back on the show in a couple of weeks, couple months, whatever works for your schedule, just to update us on what you guys got going on.
Sounds good, man. Thank you so much, and I'll catch up with you guys soon.
Absolutely, guys. All right. Well, remember, as we always say, make yourself 1% better today than you were yesterday. You stack those days up, and you are going to be feeling all right in no time. So have a wonderful day, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow for more Web3 Breakfast.
Peace out.
See you guys.
Does the music suck again, Seven?
Absolutely.
All right. Y'all have
we
a
got to
good
figure that out.
I
Like
gotta
test
figure
space
this
or something so we can figure it out.
All right. Test
That's
space
hilarious.
later today. Adios, amigos.
Yeah, let's do it. See you guys.